On the edge of a dry red desert, under a pale green sky, a human boy named Kai walked alone. He lived in a small colony on the planet Arcturus, where humans were few and aliens ruled the cities. Kai had always felt different, like he didn't belong. Even among his own people. He didn't care about farming, fixing machines, or the daily boring tasks his uncle gave him. What he loved was exploring the old ruins outside the colony. Ruins no one talked about anymore. Kai's most treasured item was a strange necklace passed down from his parents. It had a silver chain and a small crystal with unknown markings. On it, he wore it every day, though no one could read the symbols, not even the machines at the tech center. Just junk from the past, people said. But Kai believed it meant something. Today, he had skipped chores again and wandered far beyond. The allowed zone. Ahead of him stood a giant stone arch, broken in the middle, covered in strange moss and dust. This place was quiet, too quiet. Even the wind stopped blowing here. Kai stepped through the arch, heart beating fast, as he entered a large underground hall. The walls were covered in carvings, some showing humans riding creatures that looked like dragons. His eyes widened. Dragons? That's impossible, he whispered to himself. Everyone knew dragons were myths, fairy tales for kids, not real. But the images were clear, and one of them showed a boy wearing a necklace just like his. Suddenly, his necklace started to glow. Faintly, the light pulsing like a heartbeat. He touched it, and a soft voice whispered inside his mind, "The last keeper." Kai froze, looking around, but there was no one else here. Who said that? He asked out loud, his voice echoing in the stone chamber. The ground shook slightly, and dust fell from the ceiling. He stepped deeper into the hall, drawn by a strange energy he couldn't explain. At the center of the chamber was a massive figure lying on the ground. It looked like a giant statue, made of stone and metal, with huge wings folded to its sides. Chains covered its body, locking it to the floor, and its eyes were shut. Kai walked closer, slowly, carefully, until he stood just a few feet away. As he reached out to touch the chains, the necklace pulsed again, this time brighter. Then he heard the voice again, louder, clearer. "You are the last keeper. You have returned." Kai stepped back in shock, but before he could run, the dragon's eye flicked open. It glowed a deep red, not evil, but ancient, full of memory and sadness. Kai couldn't move, his feet frozen to the floor. The dragon slowly turned its head, staring directly at him. "You ... finally ... The dragon said, its voice low and echoing inside Kai's mind. Kai's mouth opened, but no words came out. The dragon's body groaned and cracked as it began to shift, the chains rattling with each breath. "Who ... Who are you?" Kai asked, barely able to speak. "I am Varanth, the last of the bonded dragons," it replied. "You wear the key ... You are the one I have waited for, human child." Kai looked down at his necklace, now glowing so bright it lit up the whole chamber. "This? It's just a necklace from my parents," he said. "No," the dragon growled softly. "It is the key of bonding. The link between dragon and rider, lost for centuries." Kai shook his head. "This can't be real. Dragons don't exist." "You're just a machine or a trick." Varanth gave a low chuckle, full of rust and flame. "Your people forgot, but the bond never did." Suddenly, loud footsteps echoed above the chamber, metallic and sharp. Kai turned quickly, his heart racing. Alien voices shouted from the surface, and lights began to shine down into the ruin. Varanth's eyes narrowed. "They found you. We must leave ... now." "Leave? I don't even know what's going on," Kai said, panic rising in his voice. "You want answers? Then survive," the dragon said. "Place your hand on my chest now." Kai hesitated only a moment, then stepped forward and placed his hand on Varanth's scales. The chains began to glow, cracking and breaking one by one. Above them, the alien voices grew louder, weapons charging. Then the floor rumbled and the dragon roared, not in rage, but in awakening. In that moment, Kai felt something deep inside him unlock. He wasn't just a boy anymore, he was a keeper, and the dragon was his. The ground above shook as alien ships hovered low in the sky. Dust and red sand fell from the cracks in the ceiling while the ruined chamber trembled. But inside, everything changed in an instant. The chains holding the dragon shattered with a burst of light, sending sparks across the stone floor. Kai's hand was still pressed against Varenth's chest, but now he could feel more than heat or stone. He could feel thoughts, emotions, memories that were not his, pouring into his mind like a broken dam. Fire, flight, war, betrayal. Flashes of ancient battles in the stars. Human riders and mighty dragons fighting side by side. Kai stumbled back, gasping, but the dragon caught him gently with one claw. "You are linked to me now," Varenth said, his voice calmer, steadier, echoing inside Kai's thoughts. "The bond has awakened, and so have I." Kai tried to speak, but his mind felt like it was swimming in too many feelings at once. "What is happening to me?" he asked, holding his head. "You touched the heartstone in your necklace," Varenth explained. "It recognized your blood, your spirit, and accepted the bond." Kai stared at the glowing crystal on his necklace. "My parents never told me what it was. I thought it was just old junk." "Your parents may have forgotten the truth, but the bond remembers," Varenth said. "Now move, human child. They are coming, and we must not be found." A hidden passage opened in the back of the chamber, ancient stones sliding away like it had waited centuries to move. Varenth lowered his body, allowing Kai to climb onto his back. The moment Kai sat between the dragon's wings, he felt a strange peace, like he belonged there. With a single push of powerful legs, Varenth slipped into the darkness of the tunnel. Above them, Zerink soldiers, tall, armored alien enforcers, dropped into the chamber too late. The tunnel closed behind them with a rumble, and the light of the surface was gone. Only silence and the low sound of Varenth's breathing remained. As they moved deeper underground, the dragon spoke again. "Long ago, humans were chosen for their unique spirit. Not for power, but for heart. Dragons chose to bond with your kind because you felt more than others. You cared, you dreamed, you fought with love." Kai was quiet, unsure how to respond. He had never been anything special, just a lonely kid with a strange necklace and too many questions. "But why are you the last?" he asked after a moment. Varenth's wings twitched, because the Zerinks feared what the bond could do. "Humans and dragons together were too strong. They hunted us one by one, until only I remained and I was trapped." Kai looked down, heart heavy. "Then I guess I came too late." Varenth's voice softened. "Or just in time." They reached an old underground chamber, dimly lit by crystals in the walls. This place was warm and still, like it had been waiting for life to return. Kai slid off Varenth's back and sat down on a rock, overwhelmed. He looked at the necklace in his hand again. It said, "Keeper." "What does that mean?" "You are a guardian of balance," the dragon said. "A keeper protects the bond, the old truths, and the future of our kind. You were chosen the moment you were born, but only now did the key awaken." Suddenly, Kai felt a rush of pain in his head. A memory not his own, burning bright, a starship exploding in space, a young man screaming, holding a dragon egg, the Zerinks commander laughing as he crushed the egg under his foot. Kai fell to his knees, eyes wide. That was real, wasn't it? Varenth nodded slowly. "The bond lets us share memories, thoughts, even pain. That was the final fall of the riders. Until now." Kai stood slowly, his hands trembling. "So what now? Do I fight? Run? What do I do?" Varenth's eyes glowed again. "You must train, grow stronger, and listen to the bond. And when the time comes, you must rise, Keeper." Kai took a deep breath and looked up. He wasn't ready for war or saving the galaxy, but something inside him had changed. The voice of doubt was still there. But now so was the fire, above ground. The Xerinx scanned the ruins, searching, sensing. One soldier touched a screen and said to his commander, "The human has bonded with the last dragon, ... It has begun." Far away, deep in the ice caves of the north, a second crystal flickered for the first time in centuries, and a deep voice rumbled from the darkness. "The bond has returned ... and with it, war." The sky above the ruins turned darker than night, but it was still morning. Something unnatural was moving across the atmosphere, silent, cold, and watching. A shadow without form passed over the colony, and animals ran to hide, even machines paused as if they felt fear. Far beneath the surface, Kai jolted awake, breath sharp, heart pounding. His forehead was covered in sweat, and his fingers were clenched into fists. He had seen something in his sleep, not a dream, but a warning, eyes in the dark. A black dragon flying without a soul. Varanth watched him closely, his wings folded, his voice calm but firm. "You saw it too, didn't you?" Kai nodded slowly. It was flying above the stars. But something was wrong, it felt hollow. "The bond is warning you," Varanth said. "The enemy is closer than we thought, and not all dragons sleep peacefully." Kai stood up, stretching, trying to shake off the nightmare. "Do the Xerinx control dragons now?" he asked. Varanth growled softly. "They tried to long ago. But dragons cannot be controlled. Only broken. And once broken, they become something else. Shadows." At that moment, a distant sound echoed through the tunnels, metal scraping on stone, footsteps, sharp and fast. "They found us," Kai whispered. Varanth didn't answer. He moved quickly, leading Kai into a hidden crevice behind the chamber wall. As they squeezed through, Kai asked, "Where are we going?" "To the old flow system," Varanth said. "A forgotten tunnel network once used by dragon riders during war. They can't track us there, at least not easily." But as they moved deeper, the air grew colder. The tunnels changed, from smooth stone to jagged walls, like something had torn through them long ago. Scratches, claw marks, scorch burns. "This place was attacked," Kai said, touching the wall. Varanth's voice dropped to a whisper. "Yes, ... This is where many bonds were broken, and where one of them may still linger." Before Kai could ask more, a sound like breathing, but twisted, echoed behind them. Kai turned sharply. Nothing was there, but he felt it. Something was following, not walking, not running, but slithering through shadows that had no source. Suddenly, a flicker of movement, and red eyes blinked in the dark. Varanth pushed Kai back with his tail and stepped forward, his chest glowing faintly. A creature stepped from the dark. It looked like a dragon, but wrong. Its wings were torn, its scales black like burnt metal, and its eyes empty. Kai felt cold creep into his chest. "This is one of the corrupted?" he whispered. Varanth didn't respond with words. He roared. A wall of heat blasted the narrow space, flames lighting up the tunnel in gold and red. The shadow dragon shrieked and lunged, moving like smoke and blade. The two dragons clashed. Claws, fire, and fury. Kai fell back, watching, helpless, his heart pounding like a drum. He wanted to help, to do something, but he didn't know how. Then he remembered. The bond. He touched his necklace, closed his eyes, and focused on Varanth's energy. In that moment, he saw through Varanth's eyes, felt the pain of a broken world, and the strength of a soul that refused to die. Kai shouted, "Varanth, now! Strike its core!" Varanth heard him. The dragon twisted mid-air, dodged the shadow's blade tail, and slammed into its chest with a burst of light. The corrupted dragon screamed, a sound not meant for this world, and crumbled into dust and ash. The tunnel fell silent again. Only the sound of Varanth's heavy breathing filled the air. Kai rushed at him. "Are you okay?" Varanth nodded slowly. "You helped me... You connected with the bond, even in battle. That is rare for a new keeper." Kai smiled a little. "I didn't really know what I was doing... I just felt it." Varanth lowered his head. That feeling is the bond's true strength, more than power or fire. But this shadow, it means more have awakened. And not all will wait for you to be ready. Far above, on a cold mountain peak, a second shadow dragon opened its wings and flew into the sky. Behind it, a dark figure stood near a glowing cave. In his hand was a necklace, just like Kai's, and on his face, a cold, cruel smile. Let him bond, the figure said. It will make his fall more painful. The stars above Arcturus shimmered with strange colors that night. Some said it was just solar dust. Others said it was a signal. But far beneath the surface, in the lost tunnels of the first bonded, a boy sat in silence beside a sleeping dragon. Kai stared into the firelight, but his mind was far away. He wasn't thinking about the ruins, or the fight, or even the shadows that hunted him. He was thinking about something deeper, a question that kept spinning in his chest. Why me? I'm not strong, Kai whispered. I'm not special. I'm not even brave. You are wrong, Varanth replied without opening his eyes. Kai looked up, surprised. I didn't say that out loud. The bond doesn't need words, the dragon said. I feel what you feel, even when you try to hide it. Kai lowered his eyes. Then you know I'm scared. I do, Varanth replied. And that's exactly why you were chosen. The fire crackled, sending sparks into the stale air of the cave. In ancient times, the bond chose humans not for their strength, but for their heart, Varanth continued. Fear means nothing if you choose to act anyway. Kai stood slowly, walking to the edge of the cave, where the air turned cold and sharp. Above him, the tunnel opened into a narrow canyon, empty, vast, and painted in moonlight. Teach me, Kai said. I don't want to run anymore. Varanth opened his eyes. They glowed like burning stars. Then, let the fire within you awaken. The next days were not easy. Varanth began teaching Kai the old ways, the ways of the bonded. First came control. The bond between human and dragon was like a bridge, fragile, strong, but dangerous if rushed. Kai had to learn how to calm his mind and let Varanth's energy pass through him. Sometimes it felt like flying, sometimes it felt like drowning. But slowly, Kai began to change. He could feel when Varanth was near. Even with his eyes closed, he could sense danger before it appeared. He could hear whispers in the wind, echoes of the past riders, and one morning, something inside him clicked. The necklace glowed brighter than ever before, not from fear, but from belief. You're ready, Varanth said, standing tall, his wings unfolding wide. Kai stepped forward, heart racing. For what? For your first flight. The sky above the canyon opened like a mouth, wide and hungry. Kai climbed onto Varanth's back, gripping the small handles between the dragon's shoulders. Just stay with me, Varanth said calmly. Trust the bond, and trust yourself. With a powerful leap, Varanth launched upward, wings cutting through the wind. Kai shouted, half from fear, half from joy. The wind slammed into his face, but it didn't matter. He was flying. The stars rushed past him like falling snow. The moons of Arcturus floated above like silent watchers. And Kai laughed. It wasn't just fun, it was freedom. But freedom never lasts long. As they flew higher, a strange energy shimmered in the clouds. Varanth slowed midair, his wings shifting, his tone alert. Do you feel that? Kai focused. Something cold touched his mind. Not a voice, but a presence, faint, watching. Suddenly, the clouds split open, and from within came a black beam of energy, aimed straight at them. Varanth rolled sideways, dodging just in time below them. A Xerinx ship uncloaked, floating like a metal insect, eyes glowing red. They were waiting for us. Kai shouted. Let them come, Varanth growled. But before they could dive, another figure appeared in the sky, riding a smaller dragon, sleek, armored, and cruel-eyed. The figure raised a hand and Kai's heart froze. He wore a necklace just like his, but it was twisted, darkened, as if corrupted. Who is that? Kai asked. Varanth's voice darkened. I do not know his name, but he has bonded with a corrupted one. As they circled, the figure pointed at Kai and smiled. Then, he spoke 3 words that echoed in Kai's bones. "I found you, Keeper." Lightning split the sky, and the corrupted dragon lunged forward. The battle had begun, and this time Kai would not run. The wind above the canyon turned sharp like blades. It carried a sound that didn't belong to this world. Not thunder, not fire, but something hollow. Something that growled like pain trapped inside a machine. Kai clutched Varenth's scales as they spun through the sky. Dodging another blast of black fire, the corrupted dragon flew fast, wings cutting through the air like razors. Its body shimmered with dark armor, and its eyes glowed like dying stars. On its back, the rider moved like he was part of the beast, not guiding it, but merged with it, like 2 broken souls had fused into one. Kai's heart thudded in his ears. "Who is he?" He shouted over the wind. Varenth's voice rumbled with old pain. "He is not a keeper. He is a breaker, a human who gave his soul to the Xerinx in exchange for power." Kai's eyes widened. "But he has a bond. A dragon ... How is that possible?" "Not all dragons died," Varenth said. "Some were twisted, changed by pain and poison. The Xerinx took their eggs and filled them with shadow, feeding them lies." Kai looked at the corrupted rider, who stared back with a cruel grin. He raised a hand, and the corrupted dragon roared, a sound that cracked the sky. The blast hit Varenth in the wing, sending both dragon and rider tumbling toward the canyon walls. "Hold on!" Varenth growled. They crashed through stone and smoke, landing hard in the lower cliffs. Dust exploded around them, and Kai hit the ground rolling. His necklace sparked, but it stayed unbroken. He pushed himself up and ran to Varenth, who was bleeding from one wing. "Can you fly?" Kai asked, breathless. "Not far," Varenth replied, his voice tight. "But enough to survive, if we're fast." But it was already too late. The corrupted dragon dropped from the sky like a shadow with wings, landing just meters away. Its claws tore the ground, and its rider stepped down, tall, armored, and silent. His face was covered by a black helmet, but when he spoke, Kai recognized the voice. "Still just a boy," the rider said, voice full of poison and pride. "You hold the key, but you don't know how to use it." Kai stood tall, though his knees trembled. "And you gave yours away, didn't you?" The rider paused, then removed his helmet. Kai gasped. The rider was human, no alien features, no implants, just a man, maybe 10 years older than Kai, but his eyes, they were empty, dead. "I was chosen before you," the man said, "but they left me behind. The dragons slept, and the bond never answered me, so I made my own path." Kai shook his head. "You let them corrupt you." "And the dragon?" The man smiled, cold and sharp. "My dragon is stronger than yours ... because he has no soul left to lose." He pointed at Kai. "Your bond is weak, and I will break it, just like they broke mine." Suddenly, the corrupted dragon roared and charged forward. Varenth rose with a growl and blocked the attack, claws locking in mid-air. "Run!" Varenth shouted in Kai's mind. "You must escape." Kai refused. "I'm not leaving you again." He closed his eyes, held the necklace tight, and focused on the bond. In that moment, everything around him slowed. He could feel Varenth's pain, his strength, his fear, and his fire. Kai reached into the bond and pushed his will into it, not with anger, not with hate, but with hope. The necklace flared, and a burst of light exploded from Kai's chest, hitting the corrupted dragon with raw force. It howled and fell back, smoking and hissing. The dark rider shielded his eyes, shocked. Kai walked forward, glowing. "The bond is not a weapon," he said. "It's a promise. You broke yours, but I won't break mine." The corrupted dragon screeched and flew into the sky, vanishing into the clouds with its rider. For now, Varenth limped forward, still breathing hard. "You did well," he said. "You used the bond as it was meant to be used. To protect, not destroy." Kai helped him up, eyes still glowing softly. "But he'll come back, won't he?" Varanth nodded slowly. Yes. And next time, he won't be alone. Far away, deep inside a hidden Xerinx fortress, 4 more dragon eggs pulsed with dark light, and a voice whispered through the shadows. Awaken, the Todd. Others. The war begins again. The stars were whispering again, not in sound, but in pulse. Across the galaxy, ancient signals blinked to life, not from machines, but from the bones of forgotten dragons buried beneath dead worlds. Something had awakened. Them, not fire, not fury, but a bond. A boy with a necklace had made the old flame flicker again. And now, others were hearing the call. Far away from Arcturus, on a mining moon called Talath, a girl named Lena dropped her pickaxe and screamed. Her necklace, hidden in her shirt since birth, burned against her chest. She saw flames, wings, and a voice saying just one word, awaken. In the middle of a ship graveyard drifting through space, a boy in a junker suit collapsed. His necklace pulsed in rhythm with a glowing crystal embedded in a ruined dragon skull nearby, all over the outer systems. Humans were waking up to memories they never lived, dreams that felt real. Dragons roaring in the sky above cities that no longer existed, and always the same symbol on every necklace, the same word keeper. Back on Arcturus, Kai stood at the edge of a cliff with Varanth beside him. Below, the canyon burned where they had fought the corrupted dragon, but in Kai's mind, something brighter had begun. Others felt it, didn't they? He asked quietly. Varanth nodded. The bond echoes across time and space. It stirs those who carry the blood of the old ones. Kai clenched his fists. Then we're not alone. No, Varanth said. But the enemy knows too, and they will strike fast, before the new bonded rise. A shadow passed over the canyon, not a dragon this time, but a small ship painted with old human markings. It landed roughly in the dust, kicking up red sand. From the door stepped an older woman with short silver hair, a rifle on her back, and a necklace that glowed faintly blue. She looked at Kai and gave a slow nod. I thought I was the last, she said, until I felt your bond burn through the stars. Varanth bowed his head. Welcome, Rider, he said. She smiled, a little sadly. It's been a long time since anyone called me that. Within days, more began to arrive. Old scavengers with necklaces they thought were broken. Children who had never seen a dragon, but drew them in the dirt without knowing why. And each time one arrived, the old stones of Arcturus lit up with soft light, like the planet itself was remembering. Kai stood in the center of the ruins, surrounded by humans who felt like strangers yesterday and brothers today. We're starting something, he said. A rebellion? Varanth replied, no. A return. But the Xerinx had already noticed in their cold fortress above the black moon of Karnas. The corrupted rider watched the reports, bonded awakening across sectors. One even escaped their labs. They're spreading, he said, his voice sharp. The bond is becoming dangerous again. Beside him, a high Xerinx commander clicked his claws. Then destroy them before they gather. The rider turned to the dragon sleeping beside him, its eyes flickering with red lightning. Send the message, he said. The keepers are rising. We must burn the roots before the flame takes the sky. Back on Arcturus, Kai stood in the ancient circle of stone where the first riders once trained. His necklace glowed steadily now, not flashing in fear, but breathing with power. Around him, dragons stirred from long sleep. Not all were whole, some were wounded, some had waited in silence for generations. But all answered the bond. Kai looked to the stars and whispered, we're coming. It did not begin with war, it began with silence. The kind of silence that falls just before something ancient wakes up. Across the galaxy, machines paused, satellites flickered, and people, human and alien alike, looked up at the stars, as if something was staring back, and it was on the dark edge of the Karnas system. The sky cracked open. A rift, glowing red and blue, tore across space like a scar. Through it came the Xerinx fleet, thousands of ships. black wings cutting through the void, and behind them, the corrupted dragons. Tamed by pain, controlled by hate. Leading them was the Dark Rider, his dragon roaring fire that smelled like ash and endings. But far beneath them, on the once forgotten planet of Arcturus, the Keepers rose. Kai stood at the center of the great circle, surrounded by humans who now wore their necklaces with pride. Each of them had bonded with a dragon. Each of them had survived the calling, and today they would fly. Kai looked at Varanth, who stood tall and strong despite his scars. "Are we ready?" Kai asked. Varanth's eyes glowed like molten stars. "You are more than ready, Keeper. You are the spark that lit the sky again." The ground rumbled as dragons launched into the air, one by one. Red, blue, silver, gold, their wings filled the sky like a living storm. Kai climbed onto Varanth, heart steady, no longer afraid, no longer alone. The last keeper had become a leader. The final bond was now a beacon. As they flew, the clouds parted and the enemy came into view. A swarm of ships and shadows ready to crush the rebellion before it fully began. The Dark Rider flew forward, his voice echoing through the minds of all the bonded. "You should have stayed buried, boy. Now I'll finish what history started." Kai responded, his voice clear and full of fire. "No. You'll watch history change." The sky lit up as the first blasts exploded between fleets. Dragons danced between lasers and missiles. Bonded riders unleashed power they never knew they had. Not just fire, not just strength, but memory, the bond itself, woven into every strike. Kai flew straight for the Dark Rider, Varanth's wings burning like comets. They clashed midair, fire against shadow, light against emptiness. Their dragons roared as they spiraled through the sky, colliding over mountains and crashing into clouds that bled lightning. "You're not strong enough," the Dark Rider shouted. "You're alone, just like I was." Kai gritted his teeth. "I was alone, but not anymore." He reached deep into the bond, not just with Varanth, but with every keeper fighting beside him. He felt Lena from Talith, her dragon screaming in rage as she tore through a battleship. He felt the boy from the junkyard, who turned debris into a shield of glowing steel. He felt them all, and together they became something greater. The bond lit up like a sun. Even the corrupted dragons paused in confusion, their chains shaking. Then something changed in the Dark Rider's eyes. A flicker of doubt, a flicker of memory. Before he could strike again, Kai pushed his hand forward and sent a wave of energy through the sky. It wasn't a weapon, it was a message, a memory of flight, freedom, and trust. A moment from the past, a dragon egg hatching in a boy's arms. That boy had become the Dark Rider, but he had forgotten who he was. The memory hit him like thunder. He screamed, and his corrupted dragon blinked. For the first time it looked free. It threw off its black armor and rose high into the sky, vanishing into the stars. The fleet broke apart in panic. Without the lead dragon, the corrupted ones scattered, some fleeing, some collapsing, some beginning to heal. The war was over, but the mission was just beginning. Kai landed in the ruins of the first circle, surrounded by fellow keepers and dragons. He looked at Varanth, smiling through the dust and fire. "We did it," he whispered. Varanth lowered his head. "No, Kai. You did it. You reminded the galaxy what the bond truly is. A promise between human and dragon, mind and soul, heart and fire." As the sun rose over Arcturus, the sky no longer felt empty, and far in the distance, other stars began to flicker, other worlds waiting for the keepers to return, because now the galaxy knew one truth again. Humanity keeps rising, and the bond never dies.